Hey, I'm Olivia,
And hey, I'm Dad.
and you're listening to Soarin' Around WDW. Welcome back, Flight Crew. We are here today to talk about our upcoming Disney trip. I am beyond excited to get back to the parks as this has been one of the longest droughts of no park visits that we have had in years. Our last trip was in June of 2025 to Disneyland, and when we left, we had nothing on the books but knew we would likely be heading back to Orlando and to Disney World in March, as we have been the last few years during one of Eileen's school breaks that doesn't fall over a holiday. Well, an opportunity came about when Maddie's work conference announced that it was going to be in Anaheim. We truly did not think we would be back to the Disneyland parks for a few years because it is not quite as cost effective for us to get out there. So I was thrilled at the notion that we might be getting back to the West Coast less than a year from when we were there last. Starting off with logistics, we knew that even though the kids would love it, going to the parks with them again would be expensive, even with the conference discounts. So that affirmed our decision to have this be a kid-free, adult-only trip. This trip also happens to fall over Valentine's Day/President's Day weekend, so that also made us feel like a kid-free trip was on the right track. However, if you are a parent, you might feel the same way as me, that leaving your kids behind can be, well, hard. We are excited for the time away, but the logistics of school schedules, bedtime routines, picky eating habits, and just generally missing them when we are away, it was hard for me to swallow being away for so many days. We have only ever both been away from our kids one other time in their lives, and we also do not have family that live nearby, so it was a big undertaking to make this happen. A huge shout out to my in-laws who are coming to take care of them for us, giving us the opportunity for this much needed adult parents only trip. When we first started planning this trip, we had been hoping to get my dad out to Disneyland with us. It is a really big dream of mine to get to go to Disneyland in particular with my dad, as he has only been once in 1970 and really wants to go back. If you heard our Christmas Eve wish list episode, you heard him mention that we were really trying to make that happen, but it ended up not working out, which is okay. I truly believe that we will get there with him one day. So it turned into a trip just for Maddie and I, which I really am so excited about. We decided, since Maddie's work was paying for his flight and accommodations up to a certain amount, that we wanted to be really careful financially in order for us to make this trip happen. When we decided to move forward with booking this, we had already booked our March Orlando trip, and so we knew that budget was going to be key in making this happen. We chose to stay at the Candlewood Suites because, number one, it was cost effective. Number two, it was equidistant for Maddie to get to the conference center and for me to get to the parks. And number three, it was a place where other people we know have stayed and thought it was safe, clean, and walkable. Previously, we stayed at the Hilton, but because of the conference, it was crazy expensive for the days post-conference that we would have had to cover, so we decided that Candlewood was going to be worth trying out. The direct Delta flight that Maddie is taking, and this is the same flight that we took last summer, it was crazy expensive now, about $535 per person, which is nowhere near how much it cost when we flew out there last summer. I believe we got our flights last year for under $400 a person. So I decided to book a less expensive option for myself since I knew I was already going to be flying out solo. Maddie has to go the day before and be there for the work and conference, and I was trying to avoid taking an extra day off of work. So after literally 2 hours of browsing options, we booked an $85 flight from RDU to LAX with a layover through Frontier. This included choosing a seat and a carry-on bag, so I didn't have to stress about packing everything I wanted into a personal item. That's just not very realistic, especially going on a trip where I'll probably be bringing some things back. So I am flying back on JetBlue with points that we had left over from them. So I only had to pay the fees, which was about $5. So I'm literally going round trip across the country for $90. You really cannot beat that deal. And as a person who is all about deals and saving money where we can, this was, something that I just really couldn't pass up. We purchased tickets through Maddie's conference, which were slightly discounted. Maddie will be going 2 days on a single park per ticket day, and we will be purchasing Lightning Lane both days for him. I got a 3-day hopper ticket with Lightning Lane each day as well. Something I wanted to add in here that I thought would be a helpful FYI in case you're ever traveling to Anaheim and Disneyland for a conference is that there are always different tickets based on the conference. Some conferences offer evening only passes, like after 4 p.m. passes. Some conferences just do like a discounted ticket like this that we had. But something that I learned through this process was about modifying these tickets later. I called before purchasing our tickets because for this particular conference, it clearly stated I had to do our purchase in only 2 total transactions. So you could not purchase different tickets within the same purchase. So for example, we knew that Maddie was going to be at his conference one of the days and I would be going to the parks that day solo. So he did not need a ticket for that day. So we could not do his 2-day ticket and my 3-day ticket in one transaction, if that makes sense. It had to be 2 separate transactions using the same email address that he registered for the conference with. I called group reservations and asked if we could make modifications to the tickets at a later date. And they told me yes, as long as you were getting something that cost more rather than less, then yes, you should be able to upgrade the number of days, add hopper, add lightning lane, but you would have to pay the difference and it might increase to whatever the conference rate tickets were at that time. Meaning if the tickets increased in price before the conference, then it might be more than we would have paid initially booking it earlier. Because we weren't sure at the time of purchase if my dad was coming or not, we decided to do a basic 2-day ticket for Maddie and a basic 3-day ticket for myself, understanding that I could increase to add a day for my departure day or add park hopper, lightning lanes, etc. Well, once we found out my dad was not coming, I knew I wanted to do something special on my solo day, which would require both lightning lane and park hopper. Now at Disneyland, you can't pick your lightning lanes ahead of time and you can purchase them on the same day when you get to the park, but it is usually more expensive that way. Not always, kind of depends. It was not actually more expensive when we went last summer, but we did prepay for it last summer ahead of time for all 4 of us. So I called Disneyland and asked to add both park hopper and lightning lane. The person on the phone said the only thing they could do was upgrade me, but I would pay the same as a standard ticket and they would not be able to provide me with the group conference rate. For the group rate, I would have to call the group sales number. Their offices aren't open as many hours and days as the regular line, so I had to wait until the next day. I called and they told me no problem, you can either upgrade to the standard price, which is what they offered me on the regular line, or you can purchase a new ticket with whatever you want under the group rate site. The prices had gone up slightly, and they said, and then email us with the old reservation number and the new reservation number with Maddie CC'd, and they would refund us for the old ticket as long as, again, it was more in price than what we had purchased previously. Well, this became a whole saga. It took them forever to get back to us by email because of the holidays, and then when they did get back to us, even with Maddie CC'd and his name listed and the name of the conference listed, they decided the email had to actually come from him. It was a little bit silly. So he literally copy pasted my email into the same thread and CC'd me instead of me CCing him. Then they went ahead and refunded us, but let us know in the future, this is not something they typically do. So get your tickets that you want the way you want them ahead of time, or you'll have to pay the full regular price. So just a word to the wise for you conference goers, make sure you have your tickets the way you want them when you purchase them. It was about a 4-week process to get the refund. And if we would have done this closer to the conference, it might not have worked out. We are so grateful they did help us out, but it was not the easiest process. For regular park tickets, you should be able to modify your tickets without so much headache, or my real advice is use a travel agent because they can do it for you and sit on hold and fix everything. I've definitely had our travel agent, Katie, at 2+3 Travelers do this for us a couple of times, like make adjustments and things before that 30-day deadline. Now, to get into the actual schedule and layout that we have in our heads for this trip, day 1 will be my travel and arrival day, which is Thursday, February 12th. I fly mid-morning from Raleigh-Durham to Dallas, and then we'll have an hour-and-a-half layover before continuing on to LAX. I'm supposed to land around 4:30 or so, and I'm hoping to get an Uber to our hotel and arrive by 6, but that might be a lofty goal with 5 p.m. traffic and deboarding. Again, I won't have a checked bag, so it should be right there with me, but we will see. I originally made reservations for Din Tai Fung in downtown Disney at 8 p.m. to give me plenty of wiggle room to be able to get in, shower, and change. And I was already slightly worried that I would be totally exhausted at this point because it would feel like 11 p.m. our time by the time we got to dinner. But Maddie ended up finding out he won an award for a grant, which is super exciting for him. I'm so proud of him. He's worked really hard on the research that he's presenting at this conference. This does mean that he has to go to the award ceremony this night. So I will be kicking it solo for dinner. And because of timing, I went ahead and just changed my Din Tai Fung reservation to Monday, when I will be solo and doing a mostly downtown Disney resort hopping kind of day, which we'll get into in a minute. I'm still on the fence about whether or not I'm going to walk over to downtown Disney this first night, because I will need to get back and get some good sleep before the big day the following morning. I don't necessarily want to go eat in downtown Disney that night, but I am trying to meet up with a few people who will be at Disneyland this same weekend. So if it works out for them to say hi that night, I might head over there. But if it doesn't, then I likely will walk somewhere closer for dinner and just pick up, hang out at the hotel, and go to bed early. I also will have more downtown Disney time at the end of the trip on that Monday. So I'm really not stressed about like making it over to downtown Disney that night. It will feel later, like I said, because we're coming from the East Coast. So we'll just kind of see how that night ends up playing out. Day 2, but the very first park day for me, will be a big one. Maddie is at his conference all day, so I am going to have a totally solo day at the parks. And thinking about this, I actually do not think that I've ever had a completely solo day at the parks. I've had times like where I've stayed longer or later than the rest of the people I'm with, but I've never actually totally been by myself for an entire day. So this will be a new experience for me in many ways. And what can I do with a solo day? Well, most people would probably just have a leisurely day throughout both parks, enjoying the ambiance sans children, but of course not me. I am super excited to announce that I will be doing an Every Ride Challenge attempt at the Disneyland parks this day. For those of you who are newer listeners, the Every Ride Challenge is a fundraiser for Give Kids the World, which is a nonprofit organization in Orlando that houses Make-A-Wish kids and their families. We personally know people who have used their accommodations and have said it is truly such a magical place. Also, for those of you who do not know, my full-time job in the real world is as an oncology nurse. When I graduated high school, my second year of college, my mom was going through treatment for breast cancer, and it really inspired me to change from my med school track, which my plan was to be an OBGYN, to become a nurse, and specifically an oncology nurse. I've worked in oncology nursing for the last 11, now almost 12 years. Time flies. That's actually crazy to say out loud. And have been in my current role for a little over 10 years. And that role includes working with kids going through radiation treatment. So these kids and their families truly are amazing, and everything they go through is so hard, but they are so strong and so brave. Many of the kids we treat choose Disney as their Make-A-Wish trip, and one of our most recent kiddos just finished last month, and she went for her trip recently, and they pretty much all stay at Give Kids the World Village. So this is very close to my heart and really is such a worthwhile organization to donate to. We will be doing a giveaway along with the fundraiser for this amazing cause going along with my run. So our goal is to raise $500 by the end of the month for this incredible organization and their mission. Some people have pledged ahead of time saying, I'll give you 25 cents per ride completed, $1 per ride completed, or even some fun bonus things like our friends on Twitter in the past have said, if you shout us out on XYZ ride, we'll give you an extra $5 or whatever. If you donate, you will be entered into a giveaway that we will do in conjunction with this fundraiser. We also will be donating all of the money from our Patreon paid subscribers to Give Kids the World this month as well. If you join our free Patreon, you will get a bonus entry. If you join a paid tier, you'll be given an extra entry per paid tier that you join. So passenger being 1, flight attendant being 2, and co-pilot being 3 extra entries. The giveaway winner will receive a $25 gift card and some stickers, show stickers, fun stickers, all that kind of a thing. We appreciate you guys supporting this amazing cause, and we're super excited for this challenge run. The giveaway will close at the end of the month, which is February 28th at midnight, and winners will be picked on Sunday, March 1st in a live on Instagram. I will put reminders on Instagram as well throughout the month. My reel that is going up on Instagram today is all about the challenge, so you will see a little bit of a short snippet of what I just told you over there. So back to the plan. I will be attempting to ride every single operating ride at both Disneyland and Disney California Adventure in one park day. This will also be the first time that I am attempting a challenge alone, as I usually attempt them with my brother Regan, who is the person that introduced me to these ride challenges, and he has attempted alone at Walt Disney World before, but neither of us have ever attempted at Disneyland. There are a lot of differences between doing the challenge at Disneyland versus Disney World. The first major one is that you do not have to get in a car or on a bus and drive between parks, which saves you so much time on that park hopping piece of the challenge. Another major challenge is the amount of attractions. Currently at Disneyland, there could be a total of 54 attractions between the two parks. We will be checking the attraction operating hours and the refurbishment schedules until the morning of this day to be sure that we have the complete list, but as of right now, it looks like there will be 51 attractions to complete, and the park hours are from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., giving us 15 total hours to complete this challenge. Small World, Grizzly River Run, and Rise of the Resistance will all be closed for refurbishment per the Disney calendar. I will obviously be keeping an eye on this as we get closer, because there are some other attractions that are currently down for refurbishment or were recently, as well as Monsters Inc. is going away forever, early 2026, quote unquote, per Disneyland. So, we'll be making sure that we have the full list the day of, obviously, because that would really stink to miss one on accident. We do have friends who have completed this before and who have done it in as little as 12 hours, but with 54 attractions, 15 hours and some change is the average. So for 51, I'm really hoping that this is doable. As long as you are in line for the attraction prior to park close, you should be fine to ride the ride. So I could have a smidge longer than 15 hours if I need to. Another piece of this puzzle is it's obviously a holiday weekend, so I'm fully expecting it to be busier than usual, making this even more difficult to complete. Right now, my plan is to rope drop Fantasyland and potentially complete that entire section before heading over to Toontown, but I might do everything in Fantasyland except for Casey Jr. and the canal boats, go over to Toontown, and then come back to finish those two. I'm not quite sure yet. Next, I really hope to head over to Matterhorn, do the Main Street vehicles, Astro Orbiter, run over, try to knock out the boats, which consist of canoes, riverboat, and Columbia sailing ship. I'm really hoping at that time to get everything in Tomorrowland done except for Nemo Submarines. Number one, because I hate that ride. And number two, it often has a very long line. As well as number three, if I'm going to miss a ride at the end because I don't finish, this is one that I really don't mind missing at all. I do not enjoy it. It's one that I literally said I'll never do again except for in a ride challenge. So won't be sad if I don't end up missing that, but obviously hope to finish the challenge. Once I complete Tomorrowland, I'm going to take the monorail and run over to DCA. There, I hope to have a Lightning Lane Multipass for Guardians lined up at this point and knock out everything with Lightning Lane Multipass as much as I possibly can. I do hope to do Monsters Inc. and Web Slingers before going to Cars Land for the two smaller rides, Mater's and Luigi's, single pass Radiator Springs Racers, and head through Pixar Pier to get everything done there, ending this park with Soarin', one of my favorite attractions of all time, obviously. Once I hop back over to Disneyland, I hope to hop right on the train, get off in New Orleans Square, and head over to the Millennium Falcon, work my way backwards going to Pooh, Tiana's, Haunted, Pirates, and into Adventureland for Indiana Jones and Jungle Cruise, back over to Thunder Mountain, and then ending the night at the Nemo Submarines. Literally writing this all out and reading this now, I almost am like laughing at myself at how is this even possible, especially solo vlogging and posting, which is required of the challenge. You have to have time-stamped photos on each ride, and some rides you have to like prove motion. It's called like proof of motion. It's like the carousel, different rides like that where you have to hop on Main Street vehicles and you don't just take a picture because then people could just like hop right off. So they really require a lot of timestamps. They check the times to make sure it's like realistic based on the length of the attraction ride. So they do really look at these things. That's a big part of the challenge, but it's all a lot. If we look at the literal math, this would mean averaging 3.4 rides per hour or 17.65 minutes per ride. Keep in mind, some attractions are longer and take almost as many of those minutes without any kind of wait or load on, load off time. So each of the boats alone take about 15 minutes to go all the way around Rivers of America. So I'm trying not to think about it too much and like get in my head. We'll see how it goes. I'm truly just doing this for fun and to raise some money for a great cause. And I know that I will really go until the park closes, whether I'm on pace to finish or not. I'm going to share here first that I'm obviously wanting to finish, but I'm going to predict that I am able to make it into the 40s as far as number of completed attractions. So fingers crossed, time will tell. Follow us over on X/Twitter. That's where it's required to post for the challenge. We don't really use our Twitter for anything else. And again, I will try my best to update Instagram stories throughout the day as I can also. So day number 2 at the parks will be a little bit of a hodgepodge. Maddie has a conference meeting until 9:30. Even though I usually never miss a rope drop at the parks, I plan to sleep in and rest after walking a ton of steps the day before with the Every Ride Challenge. I'm going to head to meet him at Disney California Adventure around 10 a.m. and then we'll do some rides, eat a quick lunch over in San Francisco, which we both love, and hang out until about 1 p.m. when he'll head back to his conference for his last session, and I will hop over to Disneyland to do 2 specific things. The first thing is I really want to see Walt Disney A Magical Life and the Enchanted Tiki Room. This might seem so random, but they're both things that Maddie doesn't necessarily care about doing or not doing. He would see it if I wanted to, but he's also cool not seeing it. And I've never had the chance to do either one of them prior trips. Tiki Room has always been under refurbishment the both times that we have gone. And A Magical Life was not quite up and running when we were there in June. It didn't open until about 2 weeks after we were there. Then when Maddie is done with his session, he will meet me back at DCA since he does not have a hopper, and we will get some more attractions done and hopefully get to go watch the Shaboom changeover around 5:30ish since we've never gotten to see that. Next, we have dinner reservations at Lamplight Lounge at 6. We've never eaten here before, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I've heard such great things. I'd like to head back over to Cars Land after this to ride Radiator Springs Racers at night. Maddie did not get the chance to see World of Color last time, but to be honest, it was not really my favorite show. It was cute, but he's not big into nighttime shows. So if he wants to watch it, I definitely would watch it again. But if he's okay with skipping it, then we can go do something else and just take in kind of like the general ambiance of Pixar Pier at night. Definitely want to hit Incredicoaster at night. So we don't really have like a huge goals list this day. Obviously, we would like to do all of the major attractions, Guardians at least once, because that's one of our favorites, Toy Story Mania, Incredicoaster hopefully twice, Soarin', and Web Slingers. I also have a checklist of snacks that I want to try at both parks. I've already been sharing more of that over on our Patreon, and then we'll be sharing it on the podcast and YouTube after our trip. So a little plug for those who've not joined Patreon, head over there, join us as a paid member to get some inside scoops on what we're doing in preparation for the trip. I've been uploading videos every week with where we're at and planning for this trip for Disney World as well, and little sneak peeks at what is coming next week on the podcast. That is also where I did my little snack rundown of what I plan to try. I also have been sharing some home videos from the 90s and early 2000s from our personal collection, which is super fun, and those are also available to our free members. So whether you're free or paid, you'd get to see some of that content too. The next morning, we will rope drop Disneyland, and this day we plan to hit all of the major attractions. So Indiana Jones, Space Mountain, Matterhorn, Pirates, Haunted Mansion, and Big Thunder. We also really want to do Mr. Toad's at least once, since Maddie missed out on that last time that we were there. It was down. Eiley and I got it when it came back up, but then it went back down by the time Maddie came back over. So he unfortunately missed out on that one, and he is a big Mr. Toad fan. We have some plans kind of revolving around food this day, and one is to eat lunch at the Plaza Inn. We've heard of the amazing fried chicken, but also the pot roast, and I am obsessed with a good pot roast, so I might have a hard time kind of deciding between the two. We also have dinner reservations at Cafe Orleans, specifically so I can try the infamous Monte Cristo. This isn't something that I've ever had before, but everyone is obsessed with it, and I love grilled cheese and deli meat, so I figured this should be worth the try. I also would love to see Tapestry of Happiness and watch the fireworks show since we only got to partially see it. We don't plan to do Fantasmic or Paint the Night since we both did it last time. Maddie has to be up super early for his flight the next morning, I think he has to be there at 6 a.m. or something, or maybe his flight's at 6. I can't even remember right now, but yeah, he has to be up super, super early. So we won't be necessarily staying till park close. Park close again that night is at 11. So we'll just kind of see how things go. We might exit after fireworks depending on kind of what he wants to do and how we're feeling energy wise. The good news is that DCA the day before closes at 9, so we're not going to be out super, super late the night before, which is good for us to be able to rest, and I'm not very good at that, so it's good that Disney sets that boundary for me. Our last day will be when we kind of split. Maddie has that direct flight from LAX to RDU early in the morning, so he will be up and out of the hotel super early that day. I plan to hopefully sleep in and take advantage of the hotel as long as I can, hoping for maybe even like a little bit of a later checkout because my flight that night isn't until like 9 p.m. or something. And I have no need to even leave for the airport until, dinner time or so. But I might leave sooner depending on how the day is going, what the weather's like, things like that. I plan to leave my bags at the hotel and then go have lunch in downtown Disney at Din Tai Fung. And again, I made that reservation for 1 p.m. that day because I think I have to check out by 11 at this point if I don't get a late checkout. So I'll need to drop my bag with them and then head over to downtown Disney to shop and also check out the resorts since I have only ever been inside of the Grand Californian. Then I will walk back to the hotel and get an Uber over to LAX. I have a red-eye flight to Boston and then a flight home from Boston on Tuesday morning. So that's a little bit of the rundown for our trip plan. We have so many fun things planned, so many new things that we have not done before. We never expected to get back to the West Coast so soon and truly never expected to be able to do this trip child-free. It's not something that we get to do together like ever. Again, we've only done that one other time in our kids' lives. So it will be nice to have some mom and dad time, just the two of us. Please be sure to reach out if you'll be in the parks over Valentine's Day weekend. I would love to say hello and will be carrying show stickers with me, of course. I also want to know what you guys want to hear about in the post-trip episodes. I plan to do a 2-part episode, one for kind of the pre-travel and every ride day, and one for the days I got to do with Maddie and the departure day. But really, I want to know, do you guys want to hear more about the logistics of off-property, solo day, traveling as parents only, holiday weekend things that we noticed worked well or didn't work well? Let me know in the comments by DM or email. I'll also be putting up a question box a couple of times during and after the trip on Instagram stories. So happy to answer whatever questions that might help with your travel or travel logistics. We also will be launching more YouTube content with this trip, including a Pack With Me vlog that I plan to have up ahead of time. We'll see kind of if that's too ambitious. I'm trying to figure out what day of the week is best. So I might drop a poll over on Instagram to see what you guys want as far as day of the week. I obviously can only film this so far in advance because I can't pack everything, now. It has to be a little bit later. Not sure if a Friday drop is best or a Monday drop after we get back is best. Then we also will be having the Every Ride vlog, hopefully park day vlogs, and a specific snack and food vlog. Again, we'll see how ambitious that gets as well as how long it takes me to edit and release them to the channel. Hoping for a new YouTube video every 2 weeks or so, but again, we will kind of see. I don't know. That might be really hard with traveling for these trips, doing the podcast, working full time, being a mom, might be a little overly ambitious. But be sure to subscribe to us over on YouTube. And we already have our first Every Ride attempts up there over at Walt Disney World. They're pretty short episodes. It's nothing crazy. It's like 10 or 15 minutes per episode. And they're really fun to watch back and kind of see how we did with the ride challenges. So go check those out. You can also listen to the podcast episode over there. I've been trying to input some photos and things into the videos when they're pertinent for like what we're talking about. So if you don't already watch this on YouTube, feel free to check that out. But we also appreciate all of our other Spotify, Apple Podcasts, other platform listeners as well. So thank you guys so much for listening and for showing support of the show, whether that's through reviews, comments, even just likes on Instagram, interacting in the stories, subscribing and following the show. It's all so great and really brings me joy to get to chat with you guys and see when you interact with our content. It's awesome. We really do appreciate those of you who have done written Apple reviews or Spotify 5-star reviews. Both really help the show grow and become more noticeable to others. So thank you again for that. We will see you guys when we return, but in the meantime, we have some fun content, of course, to keep you listening while we are away. We still will have new episodes coming out the next 2 weeks, and then we'll hop into the post-trip content after that. Before you know it, we'll be heading over to Disney World as well. It's crazy how fast time is flying. I'm ready to be back inside of the Disney magic. Until next time, have a great week, and we will soar out of here. Hey, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to give us a follow on Instagram at Soarin Around WDW Pod, where we share fun reels, throwback photos, and dive into weekly polls and debates. If you're listening on Spotify, be sure to follow and hit that 5-star button. If you are over on YouTube, subscribe and leave us a comment as well. If you're listening on Apple, a 5-star rating and a written review would mean the world. You can also now support the show through our Patreon at patreon.com/SoarinAroundWDW podcast by becoming a free or paid member and finding exclusive content and bonus episodes and videos there too. Thanks again for joining us. Catch you on the next flight.